Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Workplace Navigation Podcast. I'm Mike Sanders, your host. This podcast is focused on presenting creative solutions to typical problems the workforce experiences. You know, Everett Souders once wrote a book way back in 1989 entitled The Unnatural Act of Management. An accomplished business consultant, he described management as producing results through others. He framed the challenge of getting people to collectively produce value as an unnatural act. After presenting over 100 presentations on management at symposiums and conferences nationwide, my conclusion is the workforce is a genius at solving management problems and management itself. So this podcast is dedicated to uncovering the brilliance of our workforce, to engage the workplace as an organism that can be enriching, healthy, and even transforming. So let's bring in our featured guest today. Welcome, Duane Nicholson, to the Workplace Navigation Podcast. Thank you for being our featured guest today.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. Before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about your career, your education, your training, anything that guided you to where you are today?
Yeah, let's start off with I was at the end of my career with a large insurance carrier. I was working on my MBA and I needed to do a capstone project, and that capstone project in itself was the beginning of the consulting company that I lead, and I'm the founder, which is N.B.D Consulting Services. That was the output of my actual MBA program. But overall, my career, um, I've worked in major organizations, Fortune 500s, working in PMOs and working with technology. And it's put me here where I am today as a fractional executive and strategic advisor.
Excellent. Excellent. So why don't you describe the issue that you faced that you wanted to highlight today, how it affected you emotionally, uh, any other way? What were your initial reactions to it?
I would say over my career, what I've seen is, especially working with individual teams, is delivery or execution has really been stunted by lack of leadership. And what do I mean by lack of leadership? Um, Leadership may not fully understand the scope of the work that they're asking teams to commit to. They're also not a good at prioritization. And at the same time, working with teams, they don't understand how to maximize the output from each individual person. And so, because of that, uh, teams kind of flounder. And so, that's been one of my biggest issues in the workplace is just seeing this organization over organization.
Mhm. So, how did you handle this leadership issue when you've seen it? What did you do to create a solution where everyone benefited?
Well, first, what I've done in the past is really diagnose. In the later years, I've come up with formal assessments, but over time, that's kind of developed from just having conversations with people to kind of understand what are their current challenges. And so now I have some very, I guess, detailed vocabulary about why is this the problem? Is it prioritization? Is it due to execution? Is it due to quality? Is it due to um, technical skill? Figuring out those details. And and I think by looking at or diagnosing the problem or understanding things, I learned from there, okay, what are the problems facing teams? And more importantly, getting it visible. And based on having that visibility into what's not working as efficiently as possible, and then going, how do I enlist leadership, management, the teams to focus in on a very specific problem? Is that prioritization? Is that technical capability? And then just going from there, just building out from there and going, okay, let's look at the team. And then after fixing the team, then going, how do we apply this at a larger scale? And that's where I'm at today is looking at bigger behaviors that are outside of the team that the team can't fix.
So let's say we were coming up with Duane Nicholson's rule number 87. So how would you describe this situation generically, and what would be your solution generically, and what would be an expected outcome generically from this?
Generically. Uh, that's hard for
Globally,
me, but
as a distributed rule of thumb.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I didn't coin this phrase, but I think it's when everything's a priority, nothing is a priority. Uh, it's
So
probably
prioritization,
prioritization.
you need to attack prioritization when you have a lack of leadership. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. I think what happens is we have scenarios where leadership goes, I want everything because they're trying to impress their bosses or and it's silo. This person wants this, another person wants that, and no one has this real clear target of what they want. And so what they do is they push that desire to have a fix down to their teams. And the reality is leadership needs to provide the direction, thus director versus VP roles, is providing that direction so your teams know how to what to focus in on and follow through with.
So we don't want to get really, really efficient at producing things that we don't need.
Oh, definitely not. So, there's so there's so many there's so many
Sorry.
times I've been in meetings and I've said, that sounds like a corner case or edge case. You know, there's a different term every organization, but at the end of the day, sometimes we're in the weeds, and someone needs to call it out, and most people won't. And it's great to be that voice in the room to go, "Hey, we're having a squirrel moment." So
Mhm. Yeah.
once we're hey, squirrel, and
Yeah.
it's like let's come back, let's come back, and once we come back, that then we stay focusing on what are the most important things, and at the same time going, those things are important. Just because they're corner cases doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about it. It just means that that's not the focus right now, and making sure that you have, you know, a to-do list so then that way it still stays visible, but at the same time, it's not prioritized for right now.
Mhm. Okay. So could our rule be uh, leadership is typically the problem when there's a prioritization issue? Could we say that? That there's not leadership is responsible uh, for ensuring that work is prioritized properly. Would you say that? And second, would you say that a way to address that issue, if that is the problem, to jump in there and help get work prioritized? And that prioritization ensures better success in delivering product or things of value that are needed at that time. Would you say that?
Yeah, I would definitely say that leadership is responsible um, and accountable. Um, uh, and I think that depending on the leadership, and I'm just thinking about RACI right now, uh, uh, accountable,
Mhm.
consulted,
Yeah.
and informed, right? So they're checking all those boxes. Yes. So I think it's definitely the responsibility of leadership to understand what are the priorities, why those priorities are in place, and ensure that it's communicated to the team. And more importantly, when the team is faced with other dependencies that will slow them down or other risks that are impacting them, they need to own the dependencies and risks. So then that way they can support their teams in removing those hurdles. So then that way their teams can be effective.
Yeah. How many times have we seen RACI charts that have more than one person accountable for the same thing, which means no one is accountable for that thing, in my opinion. So
Right.
accountability, also defining accountability, what does accountability mean? and to your point, who is really accountable. So
Right.
I'm getting the sense from you that the prioritization is a key thing, and someone needs to be accountable for prioritizing work more than just delivering the work, but just what should we be working on, what resources should be assigned, and what deliverables are most important that need to be delivered first. And that comes from leadership, and that's something that we should get involved in whatever way we can. There may not be a prescription for your involvement because of your level, whatever level you are in the organization. But it certainly is, no pun intended, a priority on our part to make sure that prioritization is done. And that and by the way, would you also agree that prioritization is on shifting sands? In other words, it could change from week to week. In other words, based on what's happening in the company or the marketplace. And it's incumbent upon the team, on those who are in charge, to make sure that knowledge is given in real time so that we understand what the priorities are all the time. Go ahead, sir.
Right.
Yeah.
I just want to say that, it's funny that you mentioned RACI. A lot of these tools that we used a long time ago in the galaxy far, far and away, um, it seems like, to me, it seems like yesterday, but a lot of these tools have gone by the wayside. And I don't, and when I say tools, I mean RACI, I mean Project Charter, which establishes, you know, why did you create this particular project? Uh, any type of prioritization sessions where we're talking about budget and why we allocated money to an effort and why it's important. I remember in the earlier days, we used to have kickoff meetings when we started a new project. So then that way everyone heard the same message. Uh, those things have gone away. I
Mhm.
don't know what happened. Is it because of Agile? I'm not sure what happened, but we tried to get rid of meetings and we look at things as administrative, and I feel like those things have gone away.
Mhm.
And because they've gone away, it's it's kind of like this domino effect. These tools that we had to surface alignment have slowly disappeared, and teams are slowly in this chaos of working on many things at the same time and not having that responsible person.
Mhm.
And that, they used to use this term, one throat to choke, when we talked about the product owner. Um, can't use those terms today in the workplace. That's a automatic HR call, but it's still relevant, which is you need to have that single person who drives what your priorities are and who's definitely checking in and they understand when priorities are changing. So then that way you can, pivot as necessary. But yes, definitely we need that responsible person to help us with prioritization.
Yeah. Oh, this is wonderful. Thank you, Duane. Really, I've learned a lot from this. This is fantastic. Anyway, before we close out, thank you for this. I appreciate this. Before we close out, how can our audience get in touch with you if they want more information about what you do or to collaborate with you more on the topic?
I would say definitely reach out to me on LinkedIn. I probably spend too much time on LinkedIn, or at least I have a dedicated hour each day where I'm doing outreach. And so this would be a great opportunity to connect with me. Otherwise, you can reach out to me directly on my website, which is www.n as in Nancy, B as in boy, D as in dog, M as in Mary, C as in cat, S as in Sam.com, N.B.D.
Yeah,
MCS.
I'll put it in the
All right.
description so people can see
All
it.
right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Duane. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.